Ahsoka on Disney Plus is an excellent example of how weekly streamed episodic storytelling impacts the audience response to a cinematic story. While you're here, be sure to hit like on the video and subscribe for more because who doesn't love talking about Star Wars? All right, so we are 6 episodes in with Ahsoka, and the series is hitting pay dirt. Episode 4 is where the show really gained its legs with the battle between Ahsoka and Baylan Skoll and her near-death experience. That is also the episode in which he convinces Sabine to give him the map and to come with them to find Ezra. Looking back from episode 6, I'm not convinced that Baylan actually wants to kill Ahsoka or Ezra. He has a plan in mind, and I'm curious to know what he is doing. Episode 5 is where the storylines from Star Wars Rebels and the Clone Wars gain new life as Ahsoka and Anakin meet on the Force Path Plane, or whatever it's called, and they journey backward into the past for her to learn a very important lesson. It's also the episode where Hera Syndulla sees her son Jason truly exhibit the connection to the Force that his father had, making it clear that once again, the Force sensitivity is genetic and it's passed down from parent to child. So, in episode 6, we finally land in the nearby galaxy where we see Thrawn, we see Sabine and Ezra finally reunite, and we learn that Sabine coming to this planet with Morgan and Baylan was not foreseen by the witches. I think that's an important clue for the next 2 episodes and connects directly to what Huyang and Ahsoka were talking about regarding Sabine's choice to give Baylan the map. It was always something she was meant to do. The Force works, as they say, in mysterious ways, and it is calling to Baylan in this far-off world. Well, at least there's something here that is calling to him, and I wonder if it might actually be Emperor Palpatine. He had created clones of himself as insurance, and in the final trilogy, it's explained that his original body did die in the battle with Darth Vader, but dark Sith Lords can gather up their spirit and send it outside of their body. Force ghosts, not a new thing in Star Wars, and spirit walking is a long tradition in fantasy stories. So there's some justification for that story choice. As a result, Palpatine did this and sent his spirit somewhere, and it's entirely possible that he sent it to a clone of himself in this nearby galaxy, and now he's calling out to Baylan as the closest thing that he can find to a Sith who can help him free himself. At least that's my guess. I don't know. Could be wrong. I might be wrong. If it is Palpatine calling him, there's no way that Baylan could stand against him because he's already off the Jedi path and drawing upon other Force energies. So could be a really interesting story setup for the final trilogy. So the storytelling here is getting really good and is packed with potential. Episodes 4 through 6 are just spectacular when viewed together as a group. They are fast, action-packed, and filled with deeply meaningful moments that tie the greater Star Wars story together. These are clearly the episodes that Dave Filoni saw in his mind as he started conceiving of and building this series. But he couldn't just begin the series here. He would have had to step backwards a little bit, at least 2 episodes, to introduce us to the characters, where they are in this part of the story, and how they got here. Like, how did they get to this point in the timeline? So he does need to address some of those things in those opening episodes. Ahsoka episodes 1 through 3 were created as the stand-up episodes for the series. I think they could have gotten away with just 2 episodes, but I think 3 is actually a nice number. However, the storytelling in those episodes could have been tighter and a little more exciting. The setup was too slow for a weekly episodic series, but it will be fine once people start binging the series. When you are setting up a multiple episode cinematic story for streaming, the medium matters intensely for both storytelling purposes and audience response purposes. There are essentially three basic models for episodic storytelling with streamed video. The Netflix model of dumping the story into the stream all at once for people to binge and consume. In this case, you don't have to worry as much about the slow start because people will plow through the story, feeling the energy and the intensity of the series as a whole, which allows the writers to dig into the characters and the setup in a slower and more methodical way. Think about how Netflix built Sandman. It was fascinating and fun, but it was also a pretty slow start. However, every episode had solid links to the next episode, setting up a bingeable series in an elegant and compelling way that had lots of moments of payoff from episode to episode. Then you have the network television model, which really is you get a new episode every week. On network TV, your show will die fast and hard if you start the series too slowly. The first 3 episodes often trigger the cancellation or renewal speculation. So they simply do not mess around when dealing with a series that tells its story over a multi-episode arc. Lost is actually a really good example of how you grab people in the first 3 episodes and you keep them with you long enough to make them completely invested in the weekly episodes. I think that Game of Thrones also falls into this category, but I don't know, that series just kind of breaks every rule and they get away with it because there was literally nothing else like it. It was unique, its slowness, and its powerful plotting continuation from week to week still managed to pull in viewers who wanted to see this fan favorite series on the screen. Then you have Disney Plus, Prime, Paramount Plus, Apple TV, and all the other models that are out there. And they really do operate in a kind of a truncated version of the network television model because they usually stick to a shorter run, like 8 to 12 episodes per season. But because they consider themselves as streamers, it seems like they often follow the Netflix storytelling model. Paramount Plus figured out the 1 to 2 episodes set up pretty quick with the Picard series, but Disney Plus seems to kind of string out their openings over 3 episodes. They also seem to have a lot of hits and misses with their 3 episode setups because they spread the action out too thinly and their characters tend to do a lot of talking and walking around during the setup. They really have established this pattern with Kenobi, Secret Invasion, and now with Ahsoka. Kenobi recovered from the slow start pretty well because the story threads that it addressed were so important, and they quickly pulled in other familiar characters who helped with the prime payoff moments. Marvel's Secret Invasion was not as lucky. It was a hot mess of slowness that absolutely could have been improved. There were so many lost opportunities, and they lost what little momentum the slow pace was able to build due to those weekly breaks between episodes. That series is far better when binged like a Netflix show, but it fails for other reasons. Then we have Ahsoka with its first 3 episodes that had a decent mixture of setup and action, as well as a host of familiar faces. But the slower, more thoughtful opening suffered from the weekly release of the story. However, by episode 4, the story really took off. And now it creates great anticipation from episode to episode. That's exactly what you want when you're dealing with this kind of story. If they had hit this stride earlier, I think that all of the media and review angst would have faded fast about this show. I look forward to what they will do in the final 2 episodes of Ahsoka. Will they stick the landing? Will they fumble? I guess we are going to have to watch and see. Let me know what you think. What might the pull that Baylan feels in the Force be? Is it Palpatine? Is it something else? Will Thrawn make it out of the galaxy? Will the whales eat the witches? I don't know. Inquiring mind want to know. All right, everybody. That's all I have for you today. Be sure to subscribe for more videos. I'll see you again soon. And in the meantime, may the Force be with you.